Good morning. I'm Pete Najarian. This is the take on this Monday morning. And if you look back to last Friday, going into the not long weekend, but every weekend feels a little bit longer sometimes. So I'll tell you what, I look over at the Dow, and the Dow, it was sold off early. And as a matter of fact, it had this push to the downside and then just sort of ripped to the upside throughout the rest of the session, finished up about 75 cents. The NASDAQ, a little bit different story. It sold off. It did recover, but it sold off significantly. And when you look to see where that recovery actually finished up, down a little over 100 points, maybe 125 points for the NASDAQ. So not as good. A lot of that having to do with, of course, the news, not just on Intel, but Snap and this thing that was kind of hanging over the markets and affecting a lot of different names, whether it be Facebook or Twitter or whatever. So many different names was being affected by this whole move and what was going on, and Snap and some of the disappointment there. Crude just continues this stair-step move to the upside, up at 84 on Friday. As a matter of fact, today when we talk about it, you can expect to see that even a little bit higher. I'm looking at the 10-year, still holding around 163, did get up towards 1.7, did pull back a little bit, but still the financials traded very, very nicely on Friday, up a little over 1%. Energy was up a little over 1%, but that communication space down well over 2%. That was really the drag on the markets, and specifically, as I say, with the NASDAQ itself. Now, volumes absolutely outrageous once again. 43.6 million contracts on Friday, another monstrous day. And we've been talking about how we've been there's been parts in the middle of the week where maybe we slow down just a little bit and we trade maybe 35, 36 million contracts. Wow, we bounced back, and we bounced back in a big way on Friday. Some really nice activity. And look at that volatility index back down there, holding in the 15s. It was just a few weeks ago that we were over 23. And then if you look and you see where we are now, been an amazing move. And we talk about velocity all the time. The velocity of the volatility has been something that's been really remarkable, watching that move to the downside. So on top of all of that, there was a lot of bullish things going on within the market itself. eBay up about 6%. American Express had a really strong day. I mentioned Intel definitely being a pull also on the NASDAQ. That was down about 11%. But you look over at financials, I look over at something like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan having a pretty nice day, up 1.5%. Capital One had a very nice day as well. PNC Bank, another good day. And then I look over at Tesla. Now, this is one where, unfortunately, we were scheduled to actually focus on this one at the halftime report on Friday. That was going to be the unusual. And because of all the guests and so forth, rather than having two, we were going to only have one. The one that we selected out was Tesla, because of all of the incredible option paper that we had been seeing in there. And I talked about volume. I talked about all of this. I ended up putting that up on Twitter for folks because a lot of people really wanted to know, hey, what was going to be the unusual? Well, that was what it was. I'll give you a real quick recap. So the implied volatility there has come down significantly. We used to be in the triple digits. Now we're in the middle and low 30s in terms of implied volatility. With that, we are seeing a lot more trade because those options get a little bit more affordable for people to be able to trade. Just last week on Thursday, traded 2.4 million contracts in there. Had a monstrous start to the day on Friday, traded well over 1 million contracts in the first 2 hours of the day. Gives you a little bit of an idea. So we have a lot of buyers over the last week or so. And as a matter of fact, I go back, stock was trading 835. They bought 12,000 of the October 29, 850 calls. Gives you an idea. The one we were going to focus on was the one that was actually bought during the day and during the session, the Jan 1010 calls that were being bought. So gives you a little bit of a sense of what some of the unusual looked like and the follow through today. And we can just jump right to that. As a matter of fact, Tesla jumping 5%, 6%, hitting all-time highs, getting over not only 910, but 950, 960. Really a remarkable move to the upside, and the option paper just continues to flow. PayPal up about 4.5%. Micron up about 4.5% today. NVIDIA and AMD actually kicking in and giving a little bit of something to the semiconductor index, which actually has been kind of moving around a little bit. We've had some pretty interesting movement today within the Dow and the NASDAQ already. As a matter of fact, early on, the NASDAQ was strong. It got even stronger right at the open, started to sell off a little bit. Matter of fact, almost got into the negative territory and then bounced right back. Last I looked, it was up about 50 points or so. Same thing going on with the Dow. The Dow's just been kind of moving around, but not a whole lot when you really look and step back and you see up or down 30 or 40 points. That isn't all that big of a move when you consider where the Dow is trading right now. So a little bit of movement there, positive and negative, but nothing very telling just yet. Crude oil back up and above 85. That's something that really stood out. 10-year just kind of hanging around this 163, 164 sort of an area. And the volatility index with a little bit of a nudge to the upside. Still looking at Bitcoin, incredible run that we've been talking about for a while now. And last I looked, it was trading right around that 63,000. When I look and I see crude oil trading where that's trading right now, I also come over and I take a quick look over at some of those beta names within energy itself. I look at Oxy, I look at Marathon, I look at names that are continuing to move to the upside in that beta category. And it's very strong. As a matter of fact, the Chinese names under a little bit of pressure today. Nothing huge. When I look at trip.com, that one down fairly significantly. I also look over at Baidu, was in the negative as well. So all that being said, we've got a couple of unusuals. I do not have to do the halftime report today. You're going to want to show up later on this afternoon, though. I got to tell you something. Tony does such an amazing job. Tony Dwyer with us. We're looking forward to hearing what he thinks about the markets later on this afternoon. So, two unusuals. Number one, Skechers. This is a name that I also talked about just in the last week or so, Skechers. Stock trading just underneath 46, 45.75. 5,000 of the November 46 calls were purchased for about $2. They're also spreading that off and selling the 51 upside calls against this. This is all part of a roll that's going on. They're going from the 42.48 call spread, and they've moved up to this 46.51 call spread. And this is out in November, 5,000 of those trading. Pretty interesting to see that trading. CVS is the other one. Now, what stands out about this is we've seen Walgreens of late, huge option paper, and now CVS, monstrous option paper as well. Stock trading just around 88, just below that level. 17,000 of the November 5th expiring, so that gives you 2 weeks. November 5th expiring options, 21 cents up to about 40 cents. These 17,000 of those getting purchased today. So a lot of activity going on. We had so many different choices, a lot in technology and semiconductors. We also have a lot in the EV space, the electronic vehicles. Just trying to break it down and just try to find out which ones look the most interesting and most possible for a lot of folks to be able to at least take a look at and see some of those premiums, because premiums in some of these other names do get very, very hefty at times. Makes it a little bit more difficult. Folks, have a great day of trading and look forward to seeing you tomorrow.